An Evening with Beverly Luff Linn is an awful film that stars a group of pretty funny actors that shouldn't have been made. An Evening with Beverly Luff Linn stars Craig Robinson as the eponymous Beverly Luff Linn, Emile Hirsch, Aubrey Plaza, Jermaine Clement, and Matt Berry. This movie it's odd. There's no other way to describe it. It is an odd film. It's very dry, some British humor in it. The big issue with it is it doesn't really make a lot of sense, and that most of the characters are not likable, even the ones that you suspect to be good. In the instance, like Aubrey Plaza, obviously she's in a bad relationship with Emile Hirsch, which is how the film kind of starts. They're there. She's lusting over this Beverly Luff Linn character. Sees an advertisement, and then from there, her mission is set, while the Emile Hirsch character, who is her husband, and you can tell there's no love lost between the two. And what he ends up doing is he and some of his lackeys that he works with go and rob someone who is apparently Aubrey Plaza's brother, relative, or something in this situation. So Emile Hirsch and his little goons, they break into the spice shop that her brother owns. They steal all of his money. It's in a lockbox. Take it back to the house. Fast forward a little bit. There's an odd scene in a laundromat where the brother, who is kind of inept and a bit of a goofball, meets this passing drifter. I think it's Jermaine Clement's character, is playing Colin, and ends up getting $200 to go get the money back. So he then goes and finds Emile Hirsch and his people, sees Aubrey Plaza, ends up going in, pulls a gun on him, has like a little mini freak out, and then Aubrey Plaza senses her opportunity to take advantage of the situation. She takes the gun, pulls it on Emile Hirsch, threatens him, grabs the lockbox, leaves with Colin, hops in the car, and they take off, and they end up arriving at the hotel that Beverly Luff Linn is going to be playing at. So they're there, they're waiting, and you see this Luff Linn character show up, and it's Craig Robinson, who's usually very funny, but in it they're playing this angle to where he's basically he doesn't speak most of the time. He just communicates with grunts and looks and stuff, and it doesn't work. It's really kind of annoying, and it's kind of pointless, and you're just like, why is he doing this? This guy's hilarious. Allow him to form some words. And I could see that they were trying to maybe make this his character, because he's going to perform a show, and it's not really shown what he's going to do. He has his friend, I think the Matt Berry character there, and they're going to do some kind of little song and dance kind of thing, but you don't know what it is. It never gives any hints to it, but that ends up getting delayed a couple days, while you end up finding out that Aubrey Plaza and Luff Linn, they had a past relationship. They recognize each other at the hotel, so there's some intrigue between Colin and her, and Luff Linn and his assistant, because Luff Linn's assistant is in love with him, but Luff Linn doesn't love him back. And there's a couple weird scenes where they go into like the pool and sauna area and swim gear and grunt and make noises, and it's clear it looks like Plaza's having like an orgasm in the pool from the actions of the Luff Linn character, and it's ignorance. It doesn't make sense. It's one of these ones where they tried to make it a more of a mid or higher brow comedy film by putting in some elements but not really giving it through story, and letting you kind of put the pieces together and maybe watch some things and figure them out, but it's not funny. It doesn't make you want to keep watching it. And finally, the Colin kind of character, because he's trying to hit on Aubrey Plaza, he runs off and ends up getting picked up by a hooker, who they have sex, and then he negotiates a price with her, like, I don't remember exactly what it was, but say she starts with $50, and he's like, well, I don't got $50. And he's like, what do you got? Well, I've got $37. And he's like, okay, well, $37 will do. And she takes it and runs off. Then he goes and like cries to Aubrey Plaza, saying, I'm sorry I did this, I was a virgin and I just needed some sneers, and and it's like, no. But then one thing that is kind of funny, and you could tell it was kind of leading up to this, based on the mystique, and all of the people who were there to watch the Beverly Luff Linn show were a lot of like older white people, some of them in those little like golfing hats. I don't know the exact name for it, but you could tell it's probably foreign. And then they start singing, and they're singing like some little Scottish folk music and such, up there dancing. And at this point, Craig Robinson's character is able to actually enunciate and sing in a decent voice, and everybody's like, loving it, loving it. And then Emile Hirsch's character maybe shows up again, gets beat up, I'm not for sure. He pops in a couple times, just runs his mouth, but he more or less is just in it just because of the star power that he may have had in the past. He doesn't really add anything to it. But, once the story's over, then they kind of have a little meeting where Plaza goes, meets Luff Linn, ask him what happened. He apologizes for the past, says he doesn't really know. He's just really spontaneous and just spits things out. And she's like, okay, so she ends that. She goes back off and is setting with the Colin character. And they have like a little heartfelt in the bar, and the song comes on. They both dance, and they go off up into their room. And, it's like obviously they're about to try to have sex, and they go, and she lays in the bed. He goes into the bathroom to get himself ready. He walks out. She's asleep. So he looks at her, and he gets in the bed because it's two like little twin-sized beds. He gets in the other bed, and as he's about to go to sleep, she kind of rolls over and looks at him, and she's like, I love you. And he's like, I love you back. And then the movie ends, and you're like, what the fuck was this? Like, I really did not like this movie. I wanted to try to like it because of the players that were involved in it, because they are pretty funny people, and especially Aubrey Plaza. She's very dry and kind of like that humor, and she wasn't funny in this. She just seemed to be like plug and play. Like they basically just drew out all of her normal shticks, and it just didn't really work. Again, the Craig Robinson character was completely underused. The Jermaine Clement and the Matt Berry character, I believe they're both New Zealanders, and there was some of their style of humor thrown in it, because I think both of them are in the TV series What We Do in the Shadows, and they're funny in that, but it didn't really translate into this movie because it was trying to be more realistic with a little bit of kind of out there. It's like a comedy crime show that doesn't really work. I would not recommend this film. It's on like Netflix right now, I think. Don't watch it. Don't waste the hour and 45 minutes it would take to watch it, because you're probably not going to enjoy it. I mean, unless you're a really big fan of some very dry, not necessarily slapstick humor, but just dry, semi-British kind of, like odd humor, then maybe you'll like this. But I really wouldn't recommend it, to be honest. Thank you. Feel free to like, subscribe, share, and have a good day.